currently, the latest project that I'm working on is a joint venture between 0100 Ventures, which is the parent company that owns 0100 Campus. And it's a joint venture between 0100 Ventures and NAI. I suppose most people will be familiar with NAI. It's the largest brick and mortar store in Slovakia and the Czech Republic. And right now, our project is a joint venture which is currently handling, or will be handling, most of the software development for NAI, as well as providing a kind of innovation branch and come with cool ideas within the e-commerce segment. There's a lot of parts that are kind of amazing about working in Bratislava. So I'll give one professional reason and then I'll give one personal reason. On the professional side, I'd say the community is probably the nicest part of 0100. There's always interesting people coming and going, which means there's always a lot of perspectives, both in terms of challenging on a social level, but also that professional perspective that you get in. And that allows me to hire much faster, it allows me to get references on people faster, and that's actually kind of amazing. You don't find that most places, and the closeness of the community means that there's a lot of trust, and that's very beneficial for the business. On a personal note, for me, I've been in Bratislava now for 3.5 years. That's the longest I've been anywhere in a long time. And so for me, it's still fun because Bratislava is quite central in terms of I know Slovakians like to call themselves Central Europe, but for me, I'll still call it Eastern Europe. So it is a central part of Central Eastern Europe, I'll give you. So there's always that influx of all the different countries that are coming in here. So it's a lot of new people, a lot of new cultures. And so the exploration side and the curiosity of that hasn't dissipated. And that's allowed me to stay this long and still keeps Bratislava very interesting. So, like I touched upon, the community is extremely helpful when it comes to not just recruiting, but also validating people. And something that's amazing with that as well is I see now even within my own team that, well, I'll backtrack a bit there. I'm a millennial, and being a millennial, I don't believe people should stay in the same work for a very long period of time. Later on in life, you might burn for something and then really, really go for it. But when you're young, I believe it's important to jump. And that's something I'm looking forward to taking advantage of here, because I see people on my own team, and though I would love to keep them forever, the opportunity that the community presents for me to present them quickly with new challenges so that they never get bored, that's kind of incredible. So coming to work for a company inside the 0100 community, it doesn't just set you up for that job, it might even line up the next job for you. So that working here presents you with a long-term challenge. And that's quite unique. And for me, that's quite incredible. And that's, I think, my favorite part of the community here. So there's quite a few. I like to play pranks on people. I'm a bit of an office prankster. Today even I had one where one of my co-founders and colleagues here, Dusan, he turned 28 today. So I told my whole team he turned 30. And they went out and shopped and got him balloons with 30 written on it and got very excited. And then, of course, it wasn't his 30th birthday. So it's the little things for me. One of the other employees here at 0100, she had a deal to not eat candy for X amount of days. So then, of course, I bought a lot of candy and sat in front of her and ate it. So for me, it's the little things, it's being able to play small pranks on people and kind of having that almost sibling-like relationship with the rest of the community. That's kind of amazing. And for me, that's the funniest part, like being able to be so comfortable with each other and have so much fun together that you can actually laugh. One of the lessons that I have benefited the most from, and that I think brings me a lot of value as an entrepreneur and as a professional in general, is travel, but not just touristic travel or traveling for the culture side, but also from the professional side. I've worked in quite a few countries on different continents. And that exposure, that kind of globalism that you get from that, the understanding of multiculturalism, the appreciation of religion, the appreciation of different people and how and what happens when they work together and when they clash, those culture shocks, that's kind of amazing. And you learn and understand the world in general a lot better, which makes you a more valued businessman, because of that I'm able to understand sales in multiple cultures. I'm able to understand how products are going to impact different religions, different cultures, different people, different languages. And that's a lesson you can't learn. That's something you can only get by really challenging yourself to face that culture shock head on. And I've had some pretty crazy culture shocks in my life. When I moved to Malaysia, this is quite some years ago, one of the first things I did was go with my colleagues, and I was the only non-Malaysian or non-Southeast Asian employee in that office. And so I joined a number of my teammates who were Muslim, and I went to a prayer. And that was a culture shock for me. Like, I'd seen it on television, I'd read about it, but standing in the mosque, and there was no need for me to follow in on the prayer. I just stood in the back and I just watched. And that was the first time I'd kind of encountered that kind of religious faith up close. Like, I've grown up, of course, with Catholicism as we have in Europe, but it's almost become more of a hobby amongst most of the practitioners than an actual, hardcore religion. And so for me, that was something incredible to observe. Though I disagree with the religion as a whole, just being able to see it and understand it brought me a lot of value. All right, so my full name is Martin Joachim Flood Hauge. Here I go by Martin. I'm a Scandinavian born in Norway. I consider myself quite a global citizen. I actually haven't lived in Norway for 17 years now, and instead have been in more countries than I think I can list on my fingers. I moved to Bratislava 3.5 years ago from Malaysia, and currently I am one of the co-founders of 0100 Ventures, which is the parent company of 0100 Campus. And right now my latest venture is a joint venture between 0100 and NAI, and I'm the CEO there currently, running my little team of Nitro Labs. And there's a lot of cool stuff going on here at 0100 Campus. I can strongly recommend anyone who is interested in entrepreneurship and innovation to subscribe to us here and keep up with all the updates, because there's always something happening and you don't want to miss out.